Hi, I'm Kenny Joya. Welcome to another one of my tutorials. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create MIDI beat slices from loops in Reaper. I have a project in front of me here with a drum loop, and it sounds like this. It's a 1-bar loop, and it perfectly loops from beginning to end. But I want to trigger each one of the transients through MIDI. I'm going to start off by separating each transient into its own item. And we'll do that by selecting it, hit the keystroke D, which opens up Dynamic Split, and let's set it up to split each transient into their own item. We'll turn on at transients and leave off these two options. Then we'll go down here to Action to Perform and make sure we choose Split Selected Items. And we'll leave off any leading pad, trailing pad, or fade pad. And then we'll go down here to adjust the transient sensitivity, which opens up this dialog where we could set our threshold. I like to turn on Display Threshold in Media Items, which is going to create a horizontal line that we could bring down to just grab the transients we want. Let's bring it down to grab all of them right about here. And the dotted vertical line represents where we're going to make cuts or splits. So then we can close this. And then before we split it, we're going to choose one more option right over here. Create chromatic MIDI item from slices. This is going to create a MIDI item with multiple notes that's going to trigger our loop. So hit split. It creates another track for our MIDI, so the MIDI can trigger all the splits we just made. A loop is split into each transient, and we're going to trigger each one from separate MIDI notes. So let's go to this track, and the effects, let's add a sampler to be triggered. I'll go down here to Instruments, and I'm going to choose Resample-matic 5000, which comes with Reaper. Then we're going to select our first audio item right here and add it in by choosing this, Import Item from a range. Click it, and it brings in that sample right here, which we could hear by pressing this. Notice there's a click at the end. We can remove that by bringing up the release to about 10 milliseconds. Let's hear it now. So we're going to trigger that with the note start 0. Let's make the note end 0 as well. So if we hit this MIDI note, it's going to trigger the first sample. So now let's duplicate this plugin. Copy it, paste it, and the second one, we'll bring in the second sample. Click it, bring it in here. Let's do the same for each one of them. Paste, select it, import it, and keep going. Now we have one plugin for each note. Let's change the note value for each one of them. We'll keep the first one at 0, but we'll change the second one to 1, change the third one to 2, and so on. Now it should all be set up. So if we close this and mute this track down here, our MIDI track should now trigger the loop. And it does, perfectly. So now our loop is MIDI, or separate MIDI pieces or slices. So now we can change it in many useful ways. So we can change the tempo real easily. Let's make it faster. Or slower. Or we can change the part completely. Let's take a look at the MIDI. Double click the MIDI item, and here's our part. So we could change it up right from here. Let's say we wanted to remove the snare. We could change our snare to be a hi-hat. Bring it down here. Do the same with this one. We could change the timing of our snare. Let's make this note a snare instead. To change it around to an upbeat, we can make the part even simpler. Let's get rid of the upbeats and drag this over and delete all this. Copy these and paste it here with a multiple kick part. And now it sounds like this. Let's undo all that. We could change the hi-hat part on top of it. Let's cut this in half and duplicate it. So it plays a 16th note part. Or even make a snare syncopated. So as you can see, we can change our part to anything we want, treating our audio like MIDI. And when we're done with this, we can save all these loops as their own effects chain. Right-click, effects chains, save all effects as a chain, and we could load it up later with different samples that we could trigger just as easily. So we only have to set this up once. So that's pretty much it. That's creating MIDI beat slices from loops in Reaper. I hope you learned something. I hope you can use it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.